right across the country has spoken up clearly and strongly in support of something that families and indeed women across this country have known for a long time. Childcare is something we need to do as a country.
Merci. Prochaine question au projet.
Thank you. Notre prochaine question nous vient de Geneviève Normand de Radio-Canada. À vous la parole. Please go ahead.
Oui, bonjour. Je vous lance ma question à tous les deux, M. Leblanc et M. Trudeau. Êtes-vous capable de penser à un souvenir avec le prince Philippe et êtes-vous capable d'élaborer peut-être sur les liens que vous, le Canada, avez entretenus avec le mari de la reine au cours des dernières années, des dernières décennies?
De la mort du prince Philippe. C'est quelqu'un que j'ai connu toute ma vie. Les premières fois que je l'ai rencontré, j'étais un jeune enfant ici à Ottawa. Mes meilleurs souvenirs sont des conversations que j'ai eues avec lui depuis plusieurs années, notamment lors de la rencontre du Commonwealth à Malte dans mes premiers mois en tant que premier ministre. C'est un homme fascinant qui a toujours été dévoué au service et à la reine. Et nous le regrettons profondément avec son passage. I have known had the privilege of knowing Prince Philip almost my entire life. The first times I met him, I was just a kid here in Ottawa many years ago. But obviously, over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to have a few more conversations with him. And it is a tremendous personal as well as public sorrow that we all share at his passing. In Malta a few years ago, actually a few months after becoming Prime Minister for the first time, I was able to have a number of wonderful conversations with him, and he is going to be sorely missed, not just by his family, but obviously by all of us. Dominic?
Merci, Monsieur le Premier ministre. Moi aussi, je partage la tristesse de tous les Canadiens quand on a appris ce matin le décès de Son Altesse royale. Le Premier ministre a bien souligné le service incroyable qu'il a rendu depuis de nombreuses années, de nombreuses décennies. Évidemment, son dévouement à Sa Majesté aussi a touché, je pense, des millions de personnes à travers le monde. Moi, j'ai un souvenir d'avoir passé une soirée informel, c'était littéralement un barbecue, la fête du Canada. J'essaie de me rappeler si c'était en 1997 ou 18. Sa Majesté et le Prince étaient à Ottawa et mon père était alors gouverneur général et il y avait une soirée libre et Sa Majesté avait suggéré un barbecue informel, juste 2 tables de 8 personnes et j'ai eu la chance d'être à la table avec le Prince Philippe. Et comme le Premier ministre, j'étais touché par ses connaissances du Canada et la façon qu'il parlait du service des jeunes personnes et comment il avait dévoué tellement de temps à cette cause-là.
And in English, please.
I share the Prime Minister's comments, obviously, with respect to the sad news we learned this morning, the sad news that affected all Canadians with the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. I, like the Prime Minister, have a particular memory of having spoken with him 25 years ago, probably, at an informal barbecue that Her Majesty had suggested be organized at Rideau Hall when they were in Ottawa for Canada Day. They had a free evening and Her Majesty suggested that perhaps a summer barbecue. There were only 2 tables of 8 people at the dinner, and I had the chance to sit at Prince Philip's table and remember fondly his knowledge of Canada, his interest in Canadians and in Canada, but the passion with which he spoke about his service to young people. That is a memory I will always cherish.
Geneviève? Okay, we'll turn to the room.
Canadian Press, thanks, Prime Minister. Have you asked Mark Carney to run as a Liberal in the next federal election, or are you trying to persuade him to?
As I said, Liberal conventions are always an opportunity to gather as Liberals and reflect on the ideas that can push Canada forward, that we will continue to discuss and debate between elections and building a platform. One of the things that we've always done is brought in strong voices who contribute to our reflections, sometimes partisan, sometimes independent, but always they feed the discussions that we have. And I'm very pleased someone with the expertise, particularly in the combination of economy and environment that work together, that is something that the Liberal Party has always stood for. And I look forward to seeing Mark's speech tonight.
Thank you. And I'm going to note you didn't answer the question, Prime Minister. On the universal basic income, you in the past have expressed that now is not the time to create or introduce a universal basic income. Members of your caucus obviously feel differently. Have you changed your mind, or is now still not the time to introduce a universal basic income, or do you feel differently?
I think one of the great things about Liberal conventions is people put forward strong and challenging ideas that get debated and discussed and looked at by people from right across the country. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. We know in the past that challenging proposals brought on the floor of the Liberal Convention made it into policy and have shaped Canada over the past number of years. So I'm not going to comment on any specific resolutions, but I know that what Liberals are going to do this weekend is talk about a wide range of great ideas that will help move Canada forward. What they won't be doing this weekend is debating about whether climate change is real. That debate is settled for Canadians.
Prime Minister Mike Lucatore with Global National. Dr. Tam just said, quote, "It's clear we need stronger controls in place." Your government can do more, and I just wanted to ask you, in the past, you have not hesitated from calling out premiers on climate change and their lack of action on it. So I just want to know why you're so hesitant to call them out for not getting shots into arms quicker.
I think one of the things that we've seen from the beginning of this pandemic, Mike, is the Canadians have been reassured by the fact that different orders of government are working together. And that has been something that is both reassuring, but also confidence building in a population that is rightly anxious about the path of COVID-19. Provinces and the federal government have worked together through this pandemic, whether it's been federal investments to support the provinces in healthcare, in rapid testing, in PPE, and now the federal government paying for vaccines that are being administered by the provinces. We are there to support them as they need to get vaccines in arms. And quite frankly, this has been something that we've worked on together over the past many, many months. We will continue to be there, and the provinces have just as much of a priority as everyone else to vaccinate as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's what Canadians expect.
I just want to follow up on vaccines, and there's been criticism in the past for not getting more vaccines in the country sooner, and I know that you just mentioned that there will be 44 million by June, but do you think it was a mistake not to push the manufacturers to have more precise deadlines rather than just on specific, or I shouldn't say even on specific, just to have them delivered by a certain quarter? Would you not have preferred to have them A, earlier, and B, a more specific timeline for them to be in the country?
I think obviously we would have loved to have more vaccines much quicker, but let's remember, and I'll turn to Minister Anand for a follow-up on this, let's remember that there were no vaccines around against COVID-19 a year ago. These are brand new developments that the scientific community, the international community, experts have worked on incredibly hard over the past many months. And we are unbelievably lucky as humans that we have collectively been able to develop not just one effective vaccine against this virus, but many effective vaccines. But the challenge of developing a safe and effective vaccine is one. The second challenge is producing that vaccine at a scale that is going to make a difference around the world. And pharmaceutical companies and indeed countries around the world have stepped up to contribute to make sure that we are producing as many as possible and getting them out to people around the world. So we had commitments for 6 million vaccine doses arrived in Canada by the end of March. We blew through that target and got more. And over the coming weeks, we're going to be getting even more vaccines in. The end is definitely in sight, but we're not there yet. This third wave is more serious, and we need to hang in there for another few weeks to make sure that we can flatten that curve, drop those numbers down again, to give a chance for vaccines to take hold and to allow us to get to what will hopefully be a much more normal summer by the time the weather turns really nice. Anita.